Both on and off the court, Rajon Rondo is an enigma. The way he played the game was so much different than any other player we've ever seen. Yeah, he was a great passer, a great rebounder, a great defender, and sometimes he would have a scoring explosion. But what makes him different than every other point guard of his era was that he could control the game by not scoring a single point. He could take 0 shots the entire game and still be in complete control of everything going on. While Rondo is indeed one of the smartest players in NBA history, he's had his fair share of confrontations and disagreements. Sometimes it seems like Rondo thinks he knows everything and he's a pretty stubborn guy. Ray Allen was a guy who Rondo did not get along with, and that's been very clear. In his book, Allen said that Rondo told the team that "I carried all of you to the championship in 2008. Then the rest of the team, almost in unison, responded, "You what?" Rondo said everyone on the team had problems with him, and when Allen told him none of us had issues with you, Rondo said to him, "You did too. You told me I was the reason we were going to be traded." Then around 2012, apparently Rondo said, "I'm going to get your ass out of here this summer." And Allen was indeed gone after that season. Now, nobody on the Celtics has commented about this, about whether or not what Allen said was true, but it's definitely something I could see Rondo saying. Over the years, Rondo has had his issues getting along with certain teams and coaches, but as a mentor to younger players, they've always said good things about him. How's it going, ladies and gents? My name's Andy, and today we're going to take a look at the career of Rajon Rondo. How good was he during his prime? To start things off, Rondo was a late first-round pick of the 2006 NBA draft. He was actually drafted by the Phoenix Suns, but that was during the years when they were contending, so they had no need for him. The Suns would trade him to the Boston Celtics for a future first-round pick, and as a Celtic, Rondo hit the ground running. In his rookie season, he showed a lot of promise. He became the primary backup point guard and averaged over 23 minutes a game, but towards the end of the season, he worked his way into the starting lineup. He finished his rookie campaign making the all-rookie second team. But it would be his sophomore season when everything would change. The summer of 2007 was one of the most influential off-seasons ever. The Boston Celtics at the time were not good. In Rondo's rookie season, they went 24-58, led by Paul Pierce, but the rest of the roster was very young and very inexperienced. That summer, the Celtics decided to put all their eggs into one basket by trading away all of their assets, all of their young players for Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen. Rondo, however, still remained on the team, as the Celtics made it clear that only him and Paul Pierce were untouchable. In just one summer, the Celtics went from a young, rebuilding team to a team that was ready to win the title right away, and Rondo became the team's permanent starting point guard. He was thrown into the fire, but he responded. Despite being just 22 years old, Rondo was a steady, level-headed point guard. He never tried to do too much because he knew his role on the team, so he would always defer to his stars. Throughout the season and the playoffs, Rondo handled that role perfectly, as he helped them win the 2008 championship. Fast forward a bit, and from 2009 to 2012-ish, that was Rajon Rondo's prime. He had his best years during the stretch and became a top 5 point guard in the league. When the playoffs rolled around, Rondo always turned it up. There's a reason why playoff Rondo was a real thing. In the 2009 playoffs, with Kevin Garnett going down with an injury, Rondo took over and became the team's best player during that playoff run. He averaged nearly 17, 10, and 10 with 2.5 steals for the entire playoffs, along with the highest box plus-minus on his team. It was a significant jump from his regular season play. Rondo really blossomed during these playoffs and made it known to the world that he was a legitimate star. His passing skills and court vision significantly improved from his previous years, and some people were comparing him to Steve Nash. Now, Rondo was nowhere close to the shooter that Nash was, and his lack of shooting would haunt the team for years. During that time, on average, he would attempt less than 1 3 a game while also shooting sub 40% from mid-range, and 61% from the free throw line. Over the years, Rondo made up for that weakness by aggressively attacking the rim and using his speed to blow by defenders. However, it was apparent that Rondo's poor shooting would still hold the team back, as defenses would guard him a lot differently, backing off to give him a ton of space and block his passing lanes. It's kinda similar to how we see teams defend Ben Simmons today. With that being said, Rondo's shooting was the only weakness he had, and he did everything else at an elite or above average level. After the Celtics lost to the Magic in the conference finals, Rondo earned a spot on the all-defensive second team, his first of 4 nominations to the all-defensive teams. Rondo developed the reputation for being a tough, gritty defender, and his massive hands and long wingspan helped with that. He was only listed at 6'1", but he had a 6'9" wingspan, which helped him defend both guard positions. While most people believe that Rondo was stubborn and hard-headed, which was true, he was also very aware of his strengths and weaknesses. Despite being only 6'1", over half of his shots came at the rim, between 0 and 3 feet. And 15% of his shots came from 3 to 10 feet, which is basically floater range. Rondo was equipped with a great floater as well, and that was a big part of his game, especially when opposing big men would clog the paint. Anyway, in the 2009-10 season, everyone started to recognize the brilliance of Rajon Rondo. He would make his first ever All-Star appearance, he would lead the league in steals per game, and he would make first-team All-Defense all in the same year. Rondo finished the season averaging a career high in points with 13.7 and a career high in 2-point percentage, hitting 54% of his 2-point field goals. In Game 4 of the 2010 Eastern Conference Semifinals, Rondo recorded 29 points, 18 rebounds, and 13 assists. It was one of his best performances ever. After the game, he gave a lot of praise to his teammates, saying that, "My numbers tonight were what they were, but we still go through the big three. They're the main focal point, that's why I'm able to get so many open looks and be so aggressive." I guess it's safe to say, at that time, the relationship between him and the team was still really good. In the finals rematch against the Lakers, Rondo played like the best player on the Celtics, although that's mainly because everyone else struggled. For the next 2 years, the Celtics would lose to the newly formed Miami Heat super team. Rondo himself had some heroic performances. Game 3 of the 2011 playoffs, where he dislocated his arm on a reckless play by Dwayne Wade, but he would still play the rest of the game and lead his team to the win. A year later, in the 2012 Eastern Conference Finals, Rondo would have the best series of his entire career, averaging 21 points, 7 rebounds, and 11 assists. In this series against the Heat, Rondo dropped a career-high 44 points in Game 2. He was showing off his entire arsenal, hitting mid-range shots, crafty layups, slick passes, everything was on point. That was one of the greatest individual performances I've ever seen, and as of today, it's still the best game of Rondo's career. He went 16 for 24 from the field and 10 for 12 on free throws, while also adding 10 assists and 8 rebounds. Unfortunately, the Celtics would lose the game. This aging Celtics squad would push the Heat to 7 games before losing. In Game 7, Rondo had another amazing performance, recording a triple-double with 22 points, 10 rebounds, and 14 assists. But it was not enough. Those 4 seasons, from 2009 to 2012, would probably be considered as Rondo's prime, because in the following season, Rondo would tear his ACL, an injury that sapped him of his athleticism and speed. After 2013, Rondo was a completely different player than before, and most would say that this was the start of his decline. Since then, his career has been up and down. He's been on 5 different teams in 5 seasons, and, well, sometimes it did not end well. Overall, he still had some good seasons and good playoff series with the Bulls and the Pelicans. His leadership and passing skills are still there, but honestly, Rondo was never the same after the injury. His once quick first step is no longer there, and he became more of a jump shooter. Anyway, how good was prime Rajon Rondo actually? At his very best, he was a top 5, maybe top 3 point guard in the league and around a top 15 player. He's really hard to evaluate because there are so many different sides to him. In the playoffs or on national television, Rondo always steps up his game. His stats were better, but just looking at his stats don't tell the whole story because, like I said earlier, Rondo could control an entire game without scoring a single point. A lot of newer fans have never seen Rondo in his prime, so they just look at his box score stats and say, "Wow, Rondo was not that good. He only averages like 10 points a game for his career, and his efficiency sucks." But I watched his entire career, and his impact goes way beyond the box score stats. And even so, his stats are not bad at all. He had some crazy games and some crazy playoff series. Sometimes it felt like he always had that switch, and he could turn it on and go into another gear whenever he wanted to. Anyway, that's all folks. Let me know your thoughts on prime Rajon Rondo. I know a lot of fans overrate him as well because all they do is watch his playoff highlights, but he's also underrated by people who just look at his numbers and aren't impressed. Let me know your thoughts on Rondo in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time. Peace.